Mortgage DNA Nation. Welcome to our first episode of Mortgage DNA, the HumpDay Holla. Brought to you by
2024.
First show of 2024. Excited to be back, partnered up with my man Andrew Makovic. Andrew, you were I don't want to say laid up, man, but you had a little old injury. You kind of had to share with everybody. You had to get yourself healthy, man. You had some work done, huh, man?
Yeah, I tore my meniscus, so they put a new wheel on me, right? Cut it out, scrape some stuff down, but I'm feeling good. It's almost a month. And today I pulled the sled for the second time. So, yeah,
Nice,
I had
man.
a schedule. Yeah.
Nonstop, dude. You're an absolute beast. And, hey, congratulations. For those that don't know, Andrew works for the mothership cross country, and he's up at headquarters. They went down to the game. A little unfortunate there, right? Houston.
We didn't show up. We showed up.
Yeah, y'all were there.
Did.
Yeah, but the team didn't. Hey, I get it. Look, at least you're in the playoffs. We don't know what that is down here in New Orleans over the last couple years. That's for sure. So, folks, hey, tuning in for the first time, hey, this is going to be a weekly podcast for you. If there's topics, it's all about just keeping you updated on what's going on, keeping you in the know on what's happening, everything mortgages, real estate related. If there's questions you got, get those in and we can kind of go from there. We'll be updating, getting a site put up as we move forward. So, Andrew, let's kind of talk a little bit about as we turn into 2024. There was some excitement and some momentum that built up towards in December because we saw mortgage rates start to drop a little bit, right? And mortgage rates is always a tricky topic, especially since 20 and 21, because everybody believes that, hey, I want 3%. Those days are gone. So kind of tell me what you're seeing and what your thoughts are kind of on where rates are. I know there was some new data coming out today, and I want to kind of talk about that because I know spring, and we've talked about this, the spring buying season, I think is already amongst us. But let's kind of talk about rates first and kind of what is your thought process? What are you seeing with the rates and are you seeing business start to pick up a tad?
I think the interest is there, right? I think applications are up a little bit. I think that the rates haven't moved enough to have potential sellers list their home.
Right.
I think it'll come, but it's nice to say and tell people, hey, we can get you something in the sixes finally again, right? It's been a little bit. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I think we're going to see a slow, steady melt to the rate. I think it's gonna come over time, but I don't think that matters, Wayne. I think it's a matter of if you want to buy that house, go find it, get it now.
Well, and I think the get it now part, right? It's I think even though rates have dropped a little bit, in my opinion, it's still married the house, date the rate mentality, right?
Yeah.
There's nobody I think that buys a house. At least until things start to move a little bit more, is buying a house right now saying, hey, I can't wait to have this rate for the next 30 years.
Right.
Right. And I think if people keep that mentality and understand that it's an investment, real estate is a wealth building tool, then they're going to win. And we're seeing application volume is picking up. Right. So that means your competition is picking up. And, one of the things I talked about this past week on Mortgage Gumbo was we need to temper our excitement a little bit and with all the Fed with their rate cuts and all that, and it help people understand that doesn't necessarily mean mortgage rates, right? And if you compare it to a roller coaster, it's not going to be a drop off, right? You kind of use the words ebbs and flows, right? So it's a little bit of a mini roller coaster, right? A little bit of little bobbles and waves. So talk about that, Andrew.
I mean, it's always been that way though, right? I mean, there's always been ebbs and flows on it. I mean, I bought my first house in 2002 and God, how many rate drops and rate hikes happened since then? One thing is for sure though, my house is worth a hell of a lot more money now than it was back then, right? So regardless, look, nobody keeps a rate for 30 years.
Right.
They just don't. No, it used to be about people would change houses as fast as they were changing jobs every 7.5 years. It used to be. So I just think it's a matter of no matter what the rate's going to be, no matter what, your rent's going to be higher, right? The rental payment is 100%.
Yeah.
Might as well invest in yourself and get onto this asset building. You know, everyone's talking about AI is the future, and like can get into these stocks for that. Get into a house now before the rates drop, so your home is going to increase in value over the next 2 years, probably better than it has that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're talking like West Coast appreciation in the Midwest and in the South, right? Like it's going to happen.
Yeah, and even last year, I mean, once the final numbers come out, I think you're going to see that appreciation last year was anywhere between 6 and 10%, and that's with the highest rates that we've seen in decades.
Yeah.
So it continues to show you, and again, the inventory, and one of these terms I think that we've talked about, and it's becoming, when we start saying, hey, spring buying season is here, it's because people are pent up. You and I have a lot more buyers than there are inventory right now, right? So people are wanting to see that number. And, you start seeing all these surveys out there, and I see people saying that, hey, they want to wait till rates are 5.5%. That's even more reason why I think, Andrew, we're trying to get people to understand the importance of purchasing now and not waiting, because it's only going to get crazier. And that just means more opportunity. I know me, who's got a sub 3% rate, and you, I assume, has a low rate as well. I'm not just going to sell my house if I decide to do that and give it away just because rates got in the fives. Right. I mean, I'm still going to want to make a profit, right? Because it's a wealth building tool. So, we're starting to see a lot of stuff coming out now. And you were mentioning this before of, what 9% it's going to be up this year of sellers. What was that number that you had used?
So I just read something. It was brought up that single family home prices increased by 7.1% over the last year. Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, home prices go up. That means you have appreciation in your house, right? That you're sitting on.
That's right.
So that was a pretty big, and look, and that was with the rates being where they were.
Correct.
That's the key, right? Like that's heavy.
Yeah, we know it's going to get better. I don't think you're going to have the 7 rate cuts like the market's projecting. Look, at the end of the day, we just saw, and we're seeing even today as we sit here and do this, rates bumping up right now. And why? Because retail sales came out, and Santa Claus always wins. Santa Claus always wins, and retail sales were projected to go up 0.2%. They went up 0.8%. That's 4 times more spending. So, Andrew, I guess what we would ask the audience is that because, things are so much better that people feel good about spending, or are people living off of credit?
They're living off the credit cards. That's the truth. I mean, we have a record amount of credit card debt right now that we're carrying in this country.
Yeah.
And,
so those are things there. But I think as we move forward, you're going to have, you were mentioning earlier that 13%, what is going to be the home sellers this year? They're projecting is going to go up. You had said Zillow or something, or Redfin. One of those folks were projecting that more home sellers was going to increase this year. Like people are ready to kind of start.
Yeah. You know what? There was a survey and they were asking, I think it was with Zillow, and they were asking buy or sellers like, hey, like, do you plan on selling, and the people I can't find the article right now, but the survey said basically it was up from like 13% to 21% saying regardless of what the rates are, we're selling.
Yeah.
Like you got to, right. For whatever reason.
Yeah.
So that's music to my ears.
Well, and look,
right.
The inventories that not many people out there can afford or buy new construction, right? Or new homes. Right. So it's going to take those folks who are finally saying, those existing homeowners that finally say, hey, you know what? It's worth it now for me to move. Right. Hey, Dwayne or Andrew can get me that rate in the low 6s or the high 5s if we do some buy downs and stuff like that versus sitting around waiting. So maybe they could justify it's only off 1.5% from where they're at right now. And they all will sell.
It's the amount of equity that they're going to have to play with. That it's different, right? It's the equalizer. Yeah, that right there, the hundreds of thousands of dollars they could be sitting on. is going to just, you can, depending upon if you're smart, what you're buying, you could have very little mortgage payment at all. Right.
Yeah.
So, but have that house that you want. So that's the key.
Yeah.
There's something I want to talk about though, for houses. So, I don't know how it is down in New Orleans, but up in the Cleveland market, when you go to the west side, the west side of Cleveland, you go over this 480 bridge that we call over here, Route 480. It's tough to get FHA loans accepted, even government loans, right? So there's some cool hot spots, and I'm sure this is down there, same, where people want to live. There's a lot of doubles. And quite frankly, it was hard in the past to buy a multifamily home going conventional because you had to put 15% down for a double. You had to put 25% down for 3 or 4 units.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was back in November, Freddie Mac came up and said, hey, y'all can buy any multifamily home with 5% down going forward. And I think that's a key. And I think people really need to start utilizing that and knowing that. And I think for the lenders, we need to educate realtors and saying, hey, when you see this pre-approval, it is true. Mm-hmm. I know that it's a double or a multifamily and it's accept this offer. Things have changed, right? We need to get the word out more.
Yeah, no, I agree. And 5% down to have a double. And now you got to live in one of the units, right? It's primary
residence.
But I mean, you start talking about homes being wealth building. I mean, if that doesn't tell you then and there how great that is, right? I mean, you live 5% down now, and you get as opposed to having to put down that 15% in the past.
Sure,
that is a tremendous advantage that you really
and having somebody pay your mortgage for you.
Yeah, well, and that's the beauty of it right now. And then it's that much more profit in your pocket when you do that refinance down the road. Right. Or hey, guess what? Then you keep that, you sell your unit. Right. And then you got 2 people renting out of there and you go purchase something else down the road.
Purchase it.
Right. And
you're going to have 3 units for 10% down total.
Correct. Right. And that's the biggest thing. The other thing that I could tell you that I'm doing a lot of down here in our market and is folks that are locked in, folks that do have that low rate.
Right.
Andrew, what we're doing is they're purchasing another primary and they're keeping that 3.5%, and they're getting a lease on that property. Right. So now they've got somebody that is paying that note. And so we are able to wipe that out at least up to 75%. So for the most part, though, because the rates are so low, it's paying a good chunk of what their current home is. So that's wiped out. And now they're getting to go buy something else, knowing they're going to be able to refinance down the road. And knowing, and those are things, while those aren't homes that normally would hit the market as sales, right, as inventory, it's what a great opportunity if you are right now and you want to move and you're not sure, oh my gosh, can I afford this? Hey, give us a call. Let's chat with you. Let me see what we can do for you in regards to maybe we can wipe out that current payment you got right now. And then you could go take advantage and buy a new home, maybe in a market where a kid's going to be or something like that for school. That makes more sense.
Well, reinforce the fact that we're not giving anybody a loan that can't afford it. Right?
Man, that's well said, right? We cannot give you something you cannot afford, right? We don't just go, hey, we like you. Look, we're going to turn a blind eye to this and make you upside down.
It's not 2003 again, right?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think at the end of the day, the program, Andrew, what I found is the investors, the government service, Fannie, Freddie, Jenny, guess what? They didn't like last year not lending out as much money.
No.
They want to lend out money. So follow the trends, right? Follow the trends. If they want to give away, you buy a double or up to a 4-plex and you live in one and they want to do that for 5%, follow those trends, right? And then the other advantage we obviously have here too is the programs where, putting down less, folks, I think we're still forgetting, old Uncle Joe, Brandon put those LLPAs in place last June. Over here, we have the ability to be able to do loans where we don't have to count that against you. So,
and you're talking about the loan level pricing
LLPAs, the loan level pricing adjustments, right? The better you do, the more they hit you. We don't see it that way. So we try to help you out as best we can with those programs in-house. So that gives us the advantage there. Anything else
the bottom line is, look, building home ownership is the American dream, and it's the most stable way to strengthen a community, right? So the more people that can buy a home versus having an investor take over a city is the push.
Yeah.
So we've got great grant programs that are out there right now that you can take advantage of. Smart Start, Community Promise. Guys, you can get up to $6,500 in free, no strings attached grant money. Some cases it's a little bit harder to get that one, but there's one for up to $4,000.
And the Smart Start, you could use it any way you want too. It doesn't have to be necessarily down payment. So use that for towards your closing costs. Yeah, we take
closing costs, whatever. But this is like the key to me because it's not like it's a silent second, right? So you're not going to have to.
Right.
Some people that are taking advantage of some of these other programs, they're not going to be able to refinance, or they're going to have to pay that back. Yeah. And quite frankly, they won't be able to. Like this is a grant. It's awesome, and I give us a call. We'd be happy to go over that more. I know. We do a lot of work with a lot of first-time home buyers. So, it's just a great program to offer.
Absolutely, folks. Absolutely. That's Andrew Makovic, the original, one of the originals, and Dwayne Stein here. Hey, every week, check it out, our podcast. Stay tuned. There'll be more information. Go follow Andrew's page on LinkedIn, Andrew Makovic, or all of my social media sites as well. We'll be posting this stuff out again. There's a lot going on. So, hey, we're going to come in midweek, kind of give you an update on what's going on. But stay tuned. Follow us. We're always keeping you updated. So, hey, this has been our first episode of Mortgage DNA for 2024. And we'll see you next Wednesday. All right, Andrew. Have a good one.
Thanks for joining.
Bye-bye.